Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Corrie Thorne. I am a spiritual healer, teacher, empowerment life coach, and psychic medium. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're returning, thank you for always supporting me. Coming into use my YouTube channel live has been a newer experience for me, so please bear with me as I am trying to figure out the best software to use, trying to figure out the whole system. I am on Facebook all the time, usually weekly, doing Facebook lives, and that has been ongoing for a couple years. So you can go to Corrie Thorne, the spiritual healer, on Facebook, and you can also follow my lives right there. I can live has been a newer experience. See, and there's what my oopsers. So I'm trying to get the software to work correctly for me, but I'm not able to see the messages on my screen for some reason. So I'm having to open up my phone and bring it in. So I see I have somebody viewing me right now that's here. So welcome. I wanted to come in today. I did post the forecast readings for 2020 for the elements. So if you're in a water sign, a fire sign, you're clumped together in those groups just because of my schedule and the timing that I haven't got the time to do all individuals, and all monthlies will be back, and all monthlies are recorded, pre-recorded. So all monthlies will be coming back as of February for my regulars who have been waiting for my recordings to come out. They weren't here in December and they were not here yet in January due to my schedule. This is all done in my free time. It has to be done around paid clients. If you're looking to book a personal reading with me, you can always go to my website and go corriethorne.com. You can book your video phone reading with me there, and you can also, if you want to go back and watch the forecast readings, they are all sitting on my page, and you can get all the information there as well. And I will post it below when I'm done. Everything came up too quickly for me before I could get all the information put down below. But I will add all the information of how to book your own personal forecast reading. Also, go to my website, corriethorne.com. You can book your personal reading right there. Today, this was about an intro, but it's also the day before the full moon. I am leaving to travel tomorrow for a wellness event that we are hosting in Slave Lake, Alberta, called the Women's Winter Wellness, and I am one of the keynote speakers there. So if you're anywhere in that area of Slave Lake, Alberta, Canada, and you would like to take part in our Women's Wellness, we still have tickets available, so we love to have you join us. Because this is on the eve of the full moon. This is a wolf moon. This is a very, there's some emotions come with this moon, but it's also very much a grandmother. I have that grandmother related energy that's coming with this full moon. And it's that whole, it's time to take full responsibility for your own shit. It's time to take responsibility for your life. Time to take that full ownership of where for where you want to see your life go next. And those full moons are really about letting go. They're releasing the old stories, the past, anything that's been kind of hanging on for way too long. And as we're coming through here, and then you move into coming into down to the end of January, you're coming through into a new moon, and it's about setting that intention. And whatever was trailing through, and I've spoke about this in all the forecast readings, is you don't want to see whatever was trailing in 2019 that wasn't serving you very well. You don't want to see that following you through into 2020. It's a time of change. It's a time of release and let go. So I decided as I was coming in today to do a little bit of an introduction into who I am and what I am and how I work. And because you have only been getting my recordings, and if you have not been on my the lives that I'm just starting in here, well, you wouldn't know very much about me. So I'm going to speak a little bit about my story, how I ended up here. I am like everyone else. I started this journey after a low point in my life. I always say our lowest moments are our most defining moments. I started with having to go through a bit of a breakdown in my life, and a realization that the life I was living was not serving me. It was not working. I was sad. I was unhappy, and the discovery of you can't push life underneath the rug forever. You have to deal with it. That was the beginning of a journey into healing that I was taking. I started with the journey of training as as a Reiki master, taking all of my levels and pursuing out the teaching aspect of Reiki. I had fallen so in love with healing and realizing that the whole passed down generations of healing abilities that had been passed on to me as I've discovered that I was receiving the messages from my ancestors of being a Mi'kmaq First Nations from Newfoundland, that I had generations of passed down healing from my family that was being the messages were being channeled through, and I've developed that my abilities to be able to channel messages became clearer and clearer and clearer. And it was one of those things. I did not want to be a reader. I did not want to be passing on messages. I did not want to have to speak to spirit world. I didn't want to do any of this. It's like, I don't want to take this on, but it kept showing up and it kept becoming present in my life more and more. So as it grew, I took on the training of becoming a professional life coach, professional certified, a few years ago, and it just all morphed together. Everything that I do, from being a past life healer to a life coach to a Reiki master teacher, training in all aspects of angel card reading, oracle card reading, everything that I have taken, angelic life coach, all that I had to train, all that I had done, and it just start morphing into a life of its own and channeling through those messages. And what I discovered most of all was that I have a passion for helping people heal their hearts, for helping people be able to live the best life possible. And in all that, I started writing, started creating workshops and writing several books that are in the process of getting ready to go into editing with a dear friend of mine. And I created a program called More Than Existing, which you're going to see on here on a regular basis as I start to speak of this program. This program is now into a level 2 for a lot of people, and it's called the More Than Existing program. It's about, moving past just existing. How much of our lives do we just exist? We just do the day by day, what we're conditioned to do, how we're conditioned to live, and we're moving ourselves beyond that and living past the shadows and into the true self. So I do shadow work. I work in trauma, emotional wounds, that type of work. And so as you see this channel grow, and as I figure out exactly how it's all going to work and how it's all going to unfold, I'm not someone who perfects everything before I put it out. I truly believe that, when you're being called upon to put your work out there, you start putting your work out there. And so as it goes, it will evolve, just like everything else that I have done in my life. It's all evolving, and I live in a vulnerable state, and I love being able to let people see the true me, the essence of as I grow and evolve. So some days you'll see me in here with no makeup, other days you'll see me in here all done up. Depends on how it rolls. Today I was told to come in here and introduce myself, and to remember that not everything is recorded, is that before everything in here was recorded, and now it's not all recorded. So I'm here with you live today, and I'm going to offer out 3 cards to go with the full moon that's taking place January the 10th, 2020, which is tomorrow. And I won't be here live tomorrow, sorry. Or I may be here in the morning, but I won't be here for the full moon the evening. I do have, if you go to my Facebook page, you can sign up and take part in the online full moon meditation that's happening this evening. The moment that you send in your payment, make sure you send me an email, or make sure your email address is there somehow, so that I can have your email address to send you out the Zoom link if you want to take part in that. And the card that's coming out first for me, and Sonia Croquet, is the cards that I'm using, and this is the answer is simple. And life is a whole lot more simpler. Than sometimes how we complicate. So life, sometimes we complicate it, and things can be dealt with in such a simple way if we just get out of the chatter. We just get out of our own way, because we're always in our own way. We tend to kind of stumble over ourselves. We create more problems. We create more chaos. We overthink things instead of just allowing the flow. And the card that first comes out, and I'm doing a 3-card spread here. And if you're here and you want to ask me a question, go ahead. Put others first is the card that's coming up. I feel like when we get so caught up in our drama, when we're so in our problems that we can't see past, some of the best things that we can do for ourselves is to go out and do something. That is helping somebody else, to be of service somewhere, to do something good. And this is why I do all these free videos that I do, why I do all the free monthlies and the recordings, is that I love to be able to give back in some way. And when you find that giving back, you also have to remember that you also have to be open to receiving, that somebody else is giving to you, and you have to be able to sometimes accept the gifts that are being handed to you. And I feel like with this moon that's coming in, is that's one thing that's really hard to sometimes do, is to be able to accept the help and the gifts from somebody else. And it affects our relationships. It affects when we're in the midst of being in a relationship and we still keep trying to do everything ourselves, or we don't communicate to the person that we're with, or we don't step up and we don't help them, and we're so busy thinking that everything of that relationship has to be given to us, or vice versa, which however way it goes, is that you find yourself being affected. You find yourself being affected by that lack of flow that's happening, and you also find yourself in a place of resistance because you're shutting down and closing out the help that's available. And if we just allow ourselves to be open to receiving and open to giving, the flow is so much more beautiful that takes place. And with this flow, what I'm picking up here right now, and I'm going to extend this a little bit into the healing. So I'm picking up here, in the sacral area. I'm going in the solar plexus area. So I'm getting that orange and yellow areas of us. So in that whole solar plexus sacral area of emotional wounds, that we've been hurt, we've been through trauma, we're afraid of trusting. So I'm picking up trust, that it's hard to trust people sometimes, with our hearts, with our soul. It's hard for us to be able to put ourselves out there sometimes. If you find yourself that you have been through a lot of emotional abuse or hurt and pain and trauma, is that you want to shut down and you want to be able to stay more inward than to put yourself out there. And you feel like if you put yourself out there, you're just going to be taken advantage of, or you're going to be hurt again. And this is an opportunity of healing that's taking place during this full moon. And what I'm giving out today, to start to heal and release out those old stories of if I put myself out there, or if I help other people, all I ever do is get a hurt and pain out of this. And that everyone's always, if I try to make friends, or if I try to help people out, it always turns out bad. It's like we want to cut the cord. So I'm calling in Archangel Michael to help cut the cords to those old stories and release that energy, so that you can go out there, you can put yourself out there. There is places where your beautiful heart and your beautiful gifts are needed. And this is, as we're coming into 2020, it's about sharing, spreading love. It's about opening up new pathways, and that is new pathways in relationships as well. And when we can release and surrender the old stories and open our heart up and allow the world to see the more vulnerable us and the more vulnerable self, that we'll see such a shift and change taking place throughout the world. And the second card that comes out with this, and this came out in a couple of the forecast readings, was don't sweat the small stuff. This is a year of being very detail oriented. Sorry, stopping to read. Just ordered from you there days ago and have 1,000 questions, but I think you will get to them from your intuition or guide. Yes, if you just ordered a reading from me, you will definitely, a lot of those questions will be answered. And then once you receive that, if it was a forecast reading, once you receive that and I send you out the email, you can email me back after you receive everything. And like I said, it's a 12-day wait. It's 2-week wait from the time that you purchase. You may get it a couple days earlier than that. So yes. So if you have a couple questions after, I'm always there to help you through those. So don't sweat the small stuff is the card. This is the very present moment. Like, don't worry about how things are going to unfold after you start to make change. Don't worry about how things are going to unfold throughout the year. Even if you're reading your forecast and you're like, oh God, all these things are going to take place and these things are going to happen. Don't worry about it. Don't put thought into what hasn't happened, because the future is not even here yet. It is non-existent. Same with the past. The past is totally non-existent. It has not shown it is not here no more because it's gone. The future hasn't happened yet. You have right now. Stay present. Be very detail oriented as the present is as the future is unfolding. Pay attention to the little details, to the big details. This is kind of your creating and painting the picture of your life in the most beautiful ways. And it's like whatever details that need to be looked at, it is time to look at them. So if it's financial, really go into the details of finances. If it's love, go into the details of what's standing in your way, what has been the constant continued pattern cycle that you have been seeing happen, and what are the details that are around that cycle and story that have been affecting your life. And we don't want to see that. You don't want to see that continue, and we want to start to make changes. All changes do not happen overnight, and it all starts with making a decision and a choice to say, I am done, I'm ready for change, I'm ready to move forward, and I'm ready to put in the work that it takes. So it's action steps. And also the last card that comes up with this is celebrate you. And I love this, and I love this card. And it's like this is a time, and with this it's like call this, and I'm getting that whole kind of empowerment and so the grandmother energy that I'm getting, and I'm calling in the energy of like Saint Anne. It's like the grandmother energy that I'm getting is that she's very aware, and this whole powerful she-wolf energy of us, and it's like very aware of what you have been through, what it has taken to get here. You're not here to take anybody's shit. You're not here to take responsibility for anybody else's crap. You got to take ownership, but we're also got to take ownership of our own lives. And when we take full ownership, responsibility of how we're going to show up, how we're going to love, how we're going to be, whatever it's going to unfold, is that this is us really starting to celebrate us. And when you feel this and you sense this throughout the body, I feel like it's coming up the spine, as if the whole spine is coming to life. And the spine is like the tree of life to me, is the way I'm getting this. And the way I'm seeing this is that the whole spine becomes like the tree of life. And you can feel and experience through every vertebrae, in between each vertebrae, every piece of the life that you have already lived. But it's being kind of used as strength now, as if it's as if everything that was soft in between hardens into a resin. So it becomes like how amber begins, right? It's like what has seeped out turns into this resin and turns into this beautiful stone. And in between there'll always be flaws and cracks and particles of the past, but the past is not there. This is you kind of not hardening to a point that you're not able to bend and move, but hardening to be able to have a backbone. This is the year that we get this backbone, we extend out, we stretch out, we open up, and as we stretch and we open, then also opens up this front part, and your whole front opens and your chest opens. And I feel as if this is when we expose our heart and we open ourselves up, and the power center just kind of expands out. This is about allowing the full exposure of who you are, the essence of you, to unfold. A real lotus flower moment, a moment of transformation. And when we own every aspect of us, is that we stop apologizing. This is the time that you stop apologizing for a version of yourself that is no longer alive, that has been long gone. And if you keep apologizing for the past, or you keep saying, oh, I wish I hadn't have done that, it's that shoulda, coulda, wouldas. It's like you don't want to live in that energy. This is the year of coming full circle, full 360. And it's not a full circle, and I always keep saying this, is that not every full circle is running around the same track. The 360 that come around the circle again is you're coming from the point that you've already been here, you've already lived it, you've already experienced it. Now you can take what you know, you can go through another destiny, another time of life, and then you can start to be able to let go from a different energy than you would have let go when you were on your knees and just saying, oh, I can't do this no more. This is like, I know this now. I know what I need to do. And I can can let go from a different place, and I can live in a new reality, and I can live in the reality that I'm in now, and I can start creating from this place. Start creating from a place of knowing my strength, knowing the courage that it has taken to get here, knowing all of my great qualities and my sweet spot. What is that sweet spot in me that I know to be true of my identity, my values? Who am I? I got this now. And so it's moving forward from that. You feel pressed for time. Okay, that's exactly it. And it's like, so what I can tell you here is it Alexa? I'm trying to see. The print is so little, and I don't have my glasses on. In this is whole. I'm going to tell you, don't feel pressured, because divine timing is the essence. You're not, I'm just like, I just feel you're not stuck. I feel like that's an illusion. I don't feel you're stuck. I feel like there's an illusion here. So I'm going to change the word from stuck to fear. So change up the words a little bit here on what are you fearful of moving away from? What are you fearful of moving away from? Or what are you fearful of releasing? What are you fearful of letting go? Because there's an illusion here. And I feel like it's like you're masking something here that needs to be looked at on a cellular level. So something of your story is a conditioned belief that has been following you through for a long period of time. So if I do this, what will it, if I do this, what will other people think? Or if I make this change, who's affected by it? Whatever is transpiring in your life has to be because you are now following that I want to say almost like that soul mission, like that soul mission that you're on. You're on this inner journey, inner mission to truly live the essence of you. And that press for time that you have is actually just that whole, that that if you let go of the fear, everything else is going to unfold. So Alexa, I feel like look at where your fears sit. What are you fearful of? And is your fear real? So is it fear to be really afraid, or is it fear, false evidence appearing real? So that stories that we tell ourselves that keep us in situations and circumstances that are not serving us, that then we become paralyzed to the fear of being afraid to move out of it. Because I can tell you that move, that change that you have to make is happening. And I do feel like it is happening early in the year. I feel like by February, you damn well know what you're doing. And so I'm switching cards a little bit here, and I'm going to, it's just you and I, Alexa. So I'm going to give you another card to go with this. And I want to say there's some, and as I said before, and I'm going to say it again, I believe like there's some conditioning beliefs, something of family. Oh, sorry. It's very hard to see the way my light shines. I can tell you it says family. Let's see if it'll focus in. No. So it says family here. And the card is it's a Holy Spirit card. So family is expanding on into the ancestors. I feel like what's happening for you is, you're very welcome. I feel like this is some sort of family conditionings that you're fearful of not pleasing everybody, or that you're going to do something that are going to hurt the feelings of family members. Could be mom, dad. It could be, or that you think that you're still trying to be that enough of a child. And so in my More Than Existing program, in the second level, I speak of, and I speak a little bit in the first level as well, is our claim to fame. and I've started to create this coin. I've coined this. I'm trademarking it in. I've trademarked it into the whole program. Is that claim to fame persona that we take on of our identity? Like, were you always known as the good girl? And so as the good girl, we don't want to rock the boat. As the good girl, we try to do everything to please everybody, so that we come out as that shining star, and we don't want, or we're the rebel, and we're always known for being the rebel, and that's been the claim of fame. But in behind that rebel is this: every time we do something that's a rebel move, then we're hurt, and we feel hurt, so that we piss off everybody else. But the person who's actually getting the effects of it and who's hurting the most is actually ourselves. And so what is that claim to fame persona in your identity that you are still allowing to be there? And when you start to please yourself first, and you start to move past conditioning and still honoring and loving our families, that's got nothing to do with not loving and honoring and trying to do the best things possible. It's truly about, there is peace in our own hearts when we do the things that align to us first. And you'd be surprised how the people around us have more respect for us when we make those choices in the end. They might be a little bit worked up in the beginning, but they get over it. And that could be relationship wise. And it's like, when we stand up for ourselves, people actually like it in relationships. And the other card that comes out with this is creativity for you. And I feel like you are creating a whole new life, Alexa, and that there is you get to paint those pictures of your future. And how do you want to paint it? Do you want to paint it with those fear thoughts or those conditioning beliefs? Do you want to start breaking those habits? The key to your success and your happiness is in what you're afraid to see within yourself, that you know is your best quality that has not yet come out. Because the best qualities of you, no one has yet to see. Because if you let those out, things around you are going to change. And this will be your year of self-love, self-gratification, doing the things that align to you first. But also still helping other people, of course, because that's what we do. So it's very detail-oriented of making up the life for you. And of course, that card that came out, that Celebrate You, this is all about celebrating you. Hi, Mary. So I'm going to pull one last card before I leave. And as we go, you'll get to know more of me, as I'm in here pretty much daily. And see, I got this lend a hand. So there's a lot of reaching out and helping other people here. I feel like sometimes when we take and I've said this in the beginning, when we take the focus off being stuck and we go out and do something for someone else, we might get the clearest message ever from that person or from the situation, or just by being out. So it's like you just need to sometimes move away from overthinking the process or staying stuck in the problems that you're in, and move out of there. Because when you move out of there, you're going to find yourself getting some very clear ideas and thoughts of what's going to be, what's going to bring you the answers to the solutions that you're searching for. And I'm gonna end this with a Mother Mary card. And if you've been following my Facebook Live, you know this Doreen Virtue deck of, and I know Doreen doesn't make any of these cards anymore, but this deck is a love of my life. And I mean, I know Doreen's gone on her own journey into a different direction, but this deck of cards I've had for years, and I use them always on my Facebook Live. You are so very welcome, Alexa, and I hope that serves you well. And the card that comes out from the Mother Mary is Home. And home is this what holds our spirit and how we create. And part of my More Than Existing program, well, the majority of the first part of level 1 of More Than Existing is actually about building up that empire, blueprinting out our lives, designing, creating the life that we want to see. And it's about going back to the foundation, doing the foundation work first. getting clear on who we are, what we are, our identity, our value, seeing the worth and value within us, and doing the healing work, the old conditioning, what qualities of our own personality do we know to be true for us, and no longer putting the patches, the band-aids on thing, actually putting in the right ingredients to build strong foundations for our lives, so that we can start to, before we even put walls up and start to build a life, that we get to build up, we get to build it up in a vision first, and then start to create it in life and in person. And I can tell you, and the way I teach from this is that I had built many empires. I've owned businesses. I had a huge salon and spa, and it was wonderful, and it was so many things of a dream that I thought that was my dream, but I didn't do the healing work on me, and it was so hard to maintain. It was so hard, and I could feel myself crumbling and falling down so much, and I was still doing the best work that I could, but I was a pleaser. I wanted everybody to be happy, and in that I became very unhappy within my own self and my health, everything, and it was so hard to let go of that, and not to beat myself up for everything that wasn't working. And the realization, and where the title of More Than Existing really came from, was the day that I had to make a decision. I was done. And when I was done, I had to really get honest and real with myself and fix the things that were not working, that were conditioned to me, that were all the way back to childhood. And in my Facebook Live last night, I spoke about, a story about Miss Piggy, and my brother calling me Miss Piggy from the show, and how I had this hate on for Miss Piggy. and now that I look back, and how I look at it so differently now, and I'll tell those stories a little bit more as I go through. And what I was telling in this live on Facebook last night was how Miss Piggy, this is in my writings, of how I had this image of a Miss Piggy being annoying, this fat little character, and my brother used to call me this, and I was, always seeing myself as nothing but fat. I had eating disorders. And it wasn't my brother's fault, not in any way. For years, I played the blame and victim game for a lot of years, and in no way was that ever the situation. And I can look at it and tell these stories from this place, and I find the humor in it. And when I seen and heard Miss Piggy's voice, and I wasn't looking at the screen, when I seen it again, when I heard her voice on the TV one day, I'm like, oh, that annoying voice. And when I turned around and looked at her at 48 years old, to look at her again, and I could see this woman, I'm like, hey, she's beautiful. And I could see the beauty in her. And this was, in the light of the mirror that I work in, that I live and look in now, and how I see things so differently from this place, and how I tell these stories, is that you see life differently, because the home, that divine guidance that I live in about myself, and the truth about myself, and the place that I come from, and the ownership that I take, and the responsibility that I take as my responsibility to live the best life possible, is that I could see her, and I'm like, hey, I do look a little bit like her. I have long blonde hair. I often got my fake eyelashes on, and she wears red shoes. I always have red shoes. She's always dressed up. She has cleavage. She's beautiful. She's a woman of empowerment. And this was a whole message that was there that I couldn't see as a child. I could see it now, that this whole power behind her and the empowerment of her was the essence of the whole Miss Piggy. And so everything that I put into me now, everything that builds the foundation, and that I build up as I build myself into the life, is that I truly lead from a place of walking with the people who work with me, who are there with me, but that life that we live, and that home that we build, is our response. How beautiful do you want to be? You have to take good care of it. You have to look after. And it's like, if you let this home get run down, if you let everything of you get exhausted, depleted, and done, it shows on the outside. It shows to the world. It stops shining. And when you start to care and nurture and give yourself everything that it needs, it all starts to come back again. You start to feel and see the light and the beauty and the essence of all that, of who you are. Taking good care of ourselves means physically, emotionally, and on all aspects of us. And it takes us putting that work in. So I'm going to end with one last card for you, and it will be another Mother Mary card. And then I have to go because I have to go get ready to do a full moon meditation. If you go to my Facebook page, you can see the link to sign up for this. And once you pay, then you'll get the... I'm checking my mail, so I'll send out the Zoom link. If you want to join in, it is 6 o'clock. It's live and interactive. And here comes the validation card to what I had actually said in the beginning of open your heart, as I was speaking about the spine and expanding and growing. And as the spine comes up straight now into 2020, we're getting a spine, and it's we're opening our hearts, like we're opening our hearts into love, to transformation, to allowing us to be able to send out love but also receive love. And this is how we really start to transform our lives. And as we start to do the healing, it starts with healing ourselves first, and one person at a time. We spread that love, we send that love, and we're able to make changes in the world and in our own life that make a difference in the world. So thank you so very much for being with me. Like I said, I'm going to get this all figured out in YouTube, and get it all down pat, and it will start to evolve itself into its own life. The recordings will be back. The monthly recordings will be back. Please bear with me. Let me get this all figured out. Let me get all my new schedules figured out, and I will be getting those back to you. They have to be done in my free time around my schedule. And if you want to book a personal reading with me, it's CorrieThorne.com. If you want to purchase a forecast reading, I will add all that link into this video, but it's also under each of the forecast readings that are already posted from yesterday and the day before. Much love. Welcome. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to a future in YouTube Live. Thank you. Bye-bye.